Good evening, everybody. How's it going? I hope you're all enjoying your Saturday night, Sunday night, even. Lost a day there. It's part 4 of the Maverick live build along. With me this evening, as per usual, I have Mr. Mitchison. Good evening, Josh.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm not bad at all, mate. I'm not bad at all.
Have you managed to do any flying this weekend?
This week? Oh no, it's Sunday. No, I haven't.
Right. Okay. Let's just have a little bit of a reset here because I've lost the plot. Josh has lost the plot, and all we need now is for Mr. Purcell to also lose the plot. Right. Happy Saturday morning, Chris. Have you done any flying this weekend? Stroke week, whatever you like.
Merry Christmas. No, I
Merry
haven't.
Christmas. Good. Okay, we've got that sorted. Right.
I have caught up, so yeah.
Josh, back to you, sir. What are we going to be doing tonight? Now, can I just ask that you long this out just a little bit, because I'm going to do the background stuff of sending links to people. So go for it.
No problem. Right, tonight we are going to put leading edges and trailing edges on our kite, on the sails, that is. We're going to go through how to prepare a trailing edge, how to prepare a leading edge. I'm going to give you guys some measurements. I suggest you have a pen and paper handy tonight, or rewatch the video. But yeah, there will be some numbers tonight, which will be quite important for the build. We are going to go through, making those, putting them on the kite. That'll be about it tonight. But it doesn't sound like much, but it can be quite a task of what we're going to do.
So it's quite tricky bits tonight.
Not tricky, just a little bit complex.
Okay, all right.
Not hard to do, just requires a bit of brain work.
Okay, all right. So, right, what do we need?
So tonight, what we're going to need: scissors, soldering iron if you have one. If not, scalpel blade will work. Pencil, something to fold with if you don't want to destroy the tips of your fingers. A ruler, sewing machine. Gonna need a bit of glue or adhesive tape. And what else do? Oh, and the sail. Of course, you need the sail with a bit of Dacron and Ripstop tape or spinnaker tape if you have it. If not, you can use Icarex. So, we're up to speed.
Okay. All right. I just see that Chris has actually dived off to get his additional materials that he obviously requires. Where else are we at? Let's see, on Facebook. Good evening, everybody on Facebook. Good evening, everybody on YouTube. Yeah, right. I think we're ready to go, mate.
Nice one. Right. So I'm going to leave the options to you guys. Do you want to start with trailing edges or leading edges?
Well, now I'm not building along, so let's have a vote, Mr. Purcell.
I don't mind. Let's go for trailing.
Trailing. Okay. Anybody watching at home, leading or trailing edge, make your decision quickly.
The decision's been made because
that's it. Right. Okay. We've yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Right.
So give me a second. Right. So we should, for this, we're going to need some Ripstop tape, non-adhesive. You can use Icarex if you don't have Ripstop. So what you need is two lengths, roughly 1.5 meters to 2 meters long. And what we're going to do, this is going to be at 25mm wide. Mine is pre-cut. I've bought it this way, so that's really handy. I know it's not going to fray. If you're cutting Ripstop, I suggest you hot cut because this stuff does fray. Icarex, again, doesn't really matter, but if you can hot cut, you've got a choice, I would go for that. What we're going to do is start with, and we're just going to literally crease our Ripstop tape up the middle, so it's taking it from 25mm to 12.5, and there's a direct fold down the middle. You're not cutting this, just folding it. And the way I do that is I just take it in sections, and once I can see that it's matched, I run it down the side of the table, and that'll put a nice firm crease in there for you. So we're just going to do that for the entire length of it. And all we're doing this for is we're creating a tunnel to put on the leading edge, trailing edge.
So there's a tunnel on the trailing edge as well.
What we're doing right now will become the tunnel on the trailing edge.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Inside the tunnel, some people do use a leech line, but this kite is not necessarily required. I like quite noisy kites. If you guys want to just silent off a little bit, you can put a leech line in there. But since we're using ripstop tape, again, it's not massively essential.
Let me change up the camera. Sorry, we're still on your face. There we go.
All right.
Good evening, Watty. How are you?
Doing all right. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Doing okay. Managed to get in some about an hour of flying yesterday, so I've satisfied my flying urges, shall we say.
So I have a quick question. I was trying to get into the Zoom and stuff while Josh was studying there. How long of this tape are we using?
Let me just, I've pre-cut this before. I should probably measure this for you guys.
That would be helpful. Thank
So
you.
I got a
Josh.
bunch of it, but I don't want to fold all of it in half. It's going to take me all day.
157 centimeters. God, I hope that's long.
Hey Google, how long is 150 centimeters in inches?
150 centimeters is equal to 59.055 inches.
Okay, cool. About 60 inches. Thank you.
Cool.
No
Nice one. Oh, we had conversion in there and everything. How about that?
They're all on
We
this
are
channel.
all singing, all dancing. Okay.
Chris, Matt, I've got to compliment your uniforms tonight, guys. I am loving those shirts.
Oh, well, can we? I don't know if we can. Let's just do a quick gallery view. Okay, so Josh, you're gonna have to show as well. Look, we're all in uniform tonight. How about that? Apart from Watty, but you know, it's all good. It's all
I need to work on getting those socks.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's true. That's true. Send Josh your address ASAP. So, yes, lots of folding, and let's check Facebook and see what's going on. So we've got Bob. Bob, I always mess up your surname. It's Bob Adamites. That doesn't sound right. I don't know. Peter is with us. Good evening, Peter. It's probably afternoon where you are. And Bruno, again, he's with us as always. Good evening.
So I've folded my my tape, and I'm just setting up my sewing machine now. You guys will also need to do this. So. Yeah, that's enough in there. I saw on Facebook the other day, Matt, I don't know if you guys saw it. Somebody was doing a sewing machine masterclass on how to like set up your machine and how to set your tension and yeah, this kind of maintenance thing. Did you guys see that by any chance?
Nope, I didn't.
Was it the Fortuna Found one?
I think it could have possibly been.
Okay, because yeah, it's been up for a little while, but it's a very, very useful video. So if anyone hasn't seen it and wants to have some tips, or you know, even if you're a so-called pro, you may or may not learn something. So go and check out Fortuna Found and check out their videos because there's a lot of useful stuff on there.
Okay, are we ready to move on?
I'm ready.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, I've just folded my tape here, so you can see that there's a direct fold down the middle. I'm actually going to start to stitch just about half a centimeter about 5 centimeters, or what's that, 2.5 inches? Just so the machine gets the feed of the tape, because this stuff can sometimes be a little bit slippery. I'm using a triple stitch zigzag like the last time, 5mm wide and 15mm long. So just going to start to run a few in there. That's not triple stitching. There we go. So now that the machine has got the grip of the ripstop tape, I'm actually going to just place the trailing edge of the sail inside the fold so that it's fully concealed, and this creates our tunnel. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to lock this in just on the edge of the sail here at this point. So I'm just going to run onto there with a triple stitch, and as soon as I've got a foot in, so the needle's now into the sail and that tunnel's being put on there, I'm going to grab the sail, pull it tight, and I'm going to lock this off. So like before, 3 steps forward, 3 steps back. Okay, so now we know that that trailing edge is attached to the kite. We can start to sew it. And what we're going to do is basically sew the entire tunnel to the bottom side of the kite. So I make that trailing edge. And it's that simple. We're just literally keeping the kite flush with that seam. So the fold, that crease we can see, keeping the bottom of the kite aligned with that.
So have you got any tips for that, Josh? Because this process is the sort of thing that I really don't have a lot of confidence in.
Yeah.
And I am forever checking and double checking and just to make sure it is actually perfectly lined up. I see you're holding it like sort of applying pressure downwards on your shelf.
Yeah, so what I'm actually doing, I'm applying a little bit of resistance to both, not too much, but I want the machine to almost pull it through my hands, but not to the point where the machine finds a struggle.
Yeah, so you're not holding the machine back, but you're just applying some even tension. Yeah.
And in a certain sense, I'm holding it in place on that curve. I'm going to do this in little steps because I want this sail to be, this seam to be accurate. But you'll see as I go along. So I'll just start, and you guys will get the picture. So a little bit of pressure in that, and just running along the top, so the top end of this seam, so that it seals the entire trailing edge in. A good tip for this is when you stop, if you stop with the needle inside the fabric, and then when you reposition, it doesn't pull what you've already done away from the stitch pattern, and it gives you a little bit of resistance to work against as well.
So it ultimately will pick up from, you're picking up in exactly the same place on the material.
Exactly.
Can I just ask where we're aligning the stitch left to right on that?
Aligning. So you're sewing against the open edge.
Yeah.
So the inside edge, Chris.
So you can see, so we have our tape here, the inside where there's that cut edge. Also, if you're using black and you can't see through your black Icarex, to make sure that the bottom end of this ripstop is even, I sometimes put a light, my iPhone, perfect light, and you can just get
that's a great idea.
Just so you can see underneath.
Yeah, funnily enough, I was working very hard to try and get my sail up to speed today, and there was a lot of times there when I thought, God, I wish this just had a light, sort of just right where the bobbin sits to shine up. It makes such a difference. So, Josh, that tape that you're using, it's Ripstop, right?
Yeah, just regular Ripstop. I think it's 55 gram.
Right, I was going to say, because it looks, quite a bit stiffer.
It's kind of.
Or is that an illusion?
Yeah, it's almost the same strength as the Icarex. It's just a lot heavier.
Right. Okay.
When you get to the reinforcement section, it's just the same. We're just sandwiching that between the two halves.
So I imagine that because you've used Dacron, but I know like Chris is using Mylar. When you get to that reinforcement, I take it it's actually quite a substantial amount to try and get through on the machine.
It's actually not too bad. It's not as much as showing your leading edge.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay. Well, that's good to know. So, Josh, obviously, I can't help but feel that the process that you are using tonight, or the way that you're sewing on the live builds, is perhaps slightly different to when you're making production kites, because I notice, well, certainly when I'm sewing, that I find it inevitable that the fabric becomes crinkled over time as you're working with the machine. Now, I've had quite a few kites from you, and sort of more or less every single one, the sail has been pristine. I don't think a crease on it. Is that just taking your time and being ridiculously careful, or is there something else you're doing? Or is that a trade secret?
That's something I can give you a little bit of light on. There are a lot of people that would insist on sticking both halves of the kite together before they sew them. And what you'll find is if you do this, it's problematic because you will crease your kite.
Right, yeah.
But the thing I would suggest is if you feel like doing that, just don't. You're just going to cause problems for yourself. We do this tutorial for a reason, to give you guys the best tips. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Point taken. Point taken.
Not many people will know this, but that's a little bit of a dig.
It's a massive dig, because I decided that I knew best, and a professional kite builder couldn't possibly know more about building kites than me.
So you can see we've reached the end of this tunnel, so where the spine is. And all we're doing here is we're going to do that same 3 steps backward just to lock off the stitch. Okay.
So just going back to my question, then, it's all about just careful manipulation of the sail.
Exactly that. It's just be as delicate as you can, really.
But I mean, is it from a function point of view? Presumably, there is really no problem, because over time it becomes crinkled, and you'd like to think it doesn't impact the performance. It's just an aesthetic when you're delivering it to your customers.
Yeah, and I guess there are some people that care about having freshly kind of flat sails, and I know some people do iron their sails, but I've always been too terrified to, because I just don't want to melt my kite.
Yeah, funny enough, I was gonna ask you at some point about, is there any way of getting the wrinkles out? I can't believe people actually iron it.
Yeah, under a tea towel, but it freaks me out. I've got to be honest. Right, so you can see now, because we started before with this, we have a bit of extra. And all we're going to do, this actually will become concealed in Dacron, so you don't need to worry about this. You're just going to match that edge and just take it off with a pair of scissors, so you have a nice flush edge with your tunnel on. You can do that with a soldering iron if you're bothered about it. And to be fair, I probably should have done it with a soldering iron, but all my sockets are full with laptops and iPads. So, and we're going to do the same with the spine. We're just taking that excess off. And you can see the line of the sail, where the sail ends. You're following that line.
So just a quick one. Yeah, that was nice and flush, Josh. Alan, sadly, he can't join us in Zoom tonight because he's had laptop failure. I'm gutted, but he says he's watching avidly. And also, Mr. Fears is having a watch as well. So, good evening, Stefan. Hope you're well.
Okay. And we have two sides of the kite, which should now be stuck together. So we're just going to do the same process again. So like I said before, just give the machine a little bit of feed on that tunnel before you put the trailing edge in. I'm confident that it's got a grip now.
And that's just an arbitrary amount. It just, you sew it until you feel that the machine has got a nice grip on the machine, the fabric. Yeah.
I do insist that if you've cut it to a specific length, that you are aware of how much excess you have, because you don't want to find yourself falling short.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
So we're just sealing it in. 1, 2, 3, and back. And we're good to go. It's the same again. We're just going all the way around that trailing edge.
So let's have a look and see, where's everyone up to? Those people building at home, we've seen some absolutely lovely kites last week, so I'd love to see more. Has anybody got any pictures? Anyone watching at home got any pictures of what they're doing? I won't interrupt anyone just yet in the Zoom because I can see some busy people.
Matt, have you started your sale yet?
I have started my sale. I have
Can we
started.
have a look?
Yes, we can. Let's reach and grab it. Okay, I'm gonna just steal the spotlight for 2 seconds. Hello everybody. Look, okay, so this is my sale. Get it the right way around. There we go. A nice black and fluoro yellow number. Oh, obviously not to the same quality as yours. But yeah, I'm very excited to actually get it in the air.
Matt, do you mind if we have a look at the tip of the spine, just to show that flush edge? I should have shown that beforehand.
On mine?
Yeah, where yeah, so you've got the top, but the tip of the spine, so that would be the bottom. So yeah, you've got that flush edge which you're concealing there.
Okay. Yeah, mine's not quite sewn to the end. I was in a bit of a rush.
I wonder what would happen if you did the sale separate.
It would have probably taken me much longer, and I'd have been even more in a rush.
Well, there is that.
So, who else have we got? Let's go back to Josh.
Okay.
Oh, right. Trevor Cool, who actually messaged us last night, stroke this morning. Can this kite be stacked? And will you show us how? Seeing how to stack the mini poles too would be great.
Okay, so the mini pulse I know can definitely be stacked because I did it. This kite, I wouldn't stack this kite. I don't think it's the right kite for that. I would have to check. I would have to give it a go before I could tell you guys to do it or not to do it.
Josh, could I just ask a favour? Is there any chance you could close your blinds? It's just you. You're a little bit overexposed. That's it. Oh, perfecto, sir.
Is Josh exposing himself again?
No, terrible.
It's a regular complaint.
Yeah. So let's see how. Oh, look at that.
So that's what we got.
Very, very tidy. So, I mean, this is making me even more nervous because I just realized that obviously the trailing edge is curved. So how does the ripstop tape react to how do you surely it just wants to not butt up perfectly against the edge?
Technically no, because you're doing effectively lots of straight sections, and there is enough of a subtle bend in there that the tape kind of forms itself around the curve. So yeah, it's technically, it doesn't really cause that much of an issue. If the curve was shot harsher, then you would then have issues. But no, this one was actually all right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Looks great.
So that's trailing edges, nice and easy.
Well done. That was very quick.
I see
Very
Chris laughing and shaking his head.
Huh. Well, talking of Mr. Purcell, shall we check in with him and see how far he's got?
I think we should.
Hello, Chris.
Hi.
Hi. How far have you got, sir? Or are we in a position we can't really hold it up because it's going to fall apart?
It's not going to fall apart, don't be cheeky. But no, as per last week, I have not managed to keep up with Josh, so I am almost finished in the first head. I've not that much so far. The rest of it, but I am now at the bit where it starts to curve. And as Josh said, it's okay, but you definitely have to take it in shortens, I would say.
Yeah.
But it's getting there. You get really short lengths and making sure that the material is stuck right into the fold.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm pretty much ended the first bit.
Ah, well done. Good. And what you have been beavering away there, sir?
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm currently showing the second part of the seam. So I did one side and then had to go back and fold some more ripstop for the other side. So I'm getting there.
Excellent.
Not too far behind.
Also, is that an Icarex rack in the background?
Yes. Yeah, I keep it all held horizontally because otherwise the squares will kind of start to morph if you like lay it up against the wall. So yeah.
Impressive. Very nice. Okay, right. So then where are we at now, Josh? I guess it's leading edge, right?
Leading edges. Sure.
So you need your 50mm Dacron.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you guys a length.
Okay.
I'm just right. So for this, you guys are going to need your 50mm Dacron, pencil, soldering iron, which there it is, and Dacron, pencil, soldering iron, tape, and something metal. A ruler works. I have a template that I like to use for these, but you can't do this in paper, hence why we can send this template to you guys. But we're going to show you both methods. So I'm just going to heat up my soldering iron now. There's the light of destiny. Yeah, that's heating up. So, where's the tape measure? Hold on. So, the length of Dacron that you guys need, I measured this earlier and didn't write this down, so I do apologize. You guys need 162 centimeter long. That's enough to give you a bit of excess, but you'll see why we need excess in just a minute. So, what we're going to do, if you guys have a pen and paper handy, I'm going to give you guys some measurements throughout this, and you'll understand why, and it'll make a lot more sense. We're going to prepare the leading edges before we apply them to the kite. And what that means is we're going to fold it first thing we're going to do is fold it like we folded our trailing edge fabric before. Then we're going to mark it. Then we're going to cut our holes in where our standoff our leading edge connectors will come out of. And then we're going to apply it to the kite, and it's that easy. There is a curve in the leading edge, and when you have a curve with Dacron, it can be a little bit frustrating. But I'm going to show you guys how I do it, and by doing that, you guys should get rid of most of the issues you could have with this. So first things first, we're going to fold our 50 mil Dacron to 25 mil, and that's both pieces cut to 162 centimeters. So I'm just going to do that now.
John McCracken says good evening. Good evening, John.
I have a parcel going to John next week.
Do you?
I do.
I bet there will be lots of goodies in that parcel.
Just one.
Oh, very nice.
Something you have, Matt.
Aha. Is it pink? Well, is it the thing that I have that is pink?
Well, that narrows it down. But yes, a certain London project.
Yes. Excellent. Are you holding up to show us, Chris, or are you holding up just to inspect?
I was holding it to inspect, but
I mean, let's have a look. That looks good.
yeah, it's all right.
That looks awesome.
It went better than I expected. And it went straight. You're asking about the Mylar as well.
Yeah.
I use Mylar on mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it went straight through it. I actually didn't realise that I'd gone over it. So
Can you hold it really close up to the camera, please?
You see?
I mean, you have done an exceptional job of that. That looks very, very neat.
Need to catch up now. On to the next one.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
That's all right.
Okay. So, Josh, have you finished folding?
I have. So, first step. The first thing we're going to do, you're going to measure in from the end. So, you're measuring. This is where you guys are going to need a pen and paper to write this down or rewatch, like I said. So, you're going to measure in 13 centimeters from the end, and you're going to make a mark. So, my 13 centimeters is there. Just make a mark with a pencil. And you're doing this on one side, and you'll see why in a minute. And the next mark you're going to make, we're going to measure along 45.1 centimeters. I feel Waddy's conversion chart coming in here in a second.
Now, Josh, sorry to distract you whilst you're doing it. You're making your marks on the inside of the fold.
Yes. And sorry, I must say that the 41.5 centimeter mark is from the 13 mark. So the mark you make at 13 will become the end of the leading edge. And I will, so we have our leading edge, we have a 13 mark, and then the 45 is being measured from the 13 mark along to our 41 mark.
41, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
So 13, just write the numbers in on that paper. Sorry, but yeah.
So 13.
Yeah.
41.5. And I'll just put this on here for now. Next mark one after that is 104 centimeters. Okay. If you guys want to take a screenshot, I apologize for my terrible handwriting.
No, that's fine. So you measure, hold it up against the screen. We'll go through it just because this bit could, it's ambiguous. So not ambiguous, but it's detailed. So you've got the end of your Dacron, and then you measure 13 centimeters in.
Yeah.
From that point, from the 13 centimeter mark, you measure an additional 41.5 centimeters, and then from that mark you measure an additional 104. Oh no.
So then you go back to the 13 mark and you measure 104.
Ah, right. Okay. So you go back to the 13 centimeter mark and put another mark in 104 centimeters from the 13 centimeter mark. Okay, I think we've got that.
We can get a diagram of that put up on the website as well afterwards, can't we?
Yes. Yeah.
Sort that out for me.
Okay. So I'm making my marks now. Yeah. Right. So, because again, human error is a thing, and one measurement of 13 can be a totally different measurement of 13 on the next time, we're actually going to reflect the marks from the Dacron as opposed to actually doing a direct remeasure. I find it's easier that way because then you know the things you're going to get are more alike than if you remeasure it, but that's personal preference. If you guys want to measure them again, that's absolutely fine. I know Chris, being an engineer, will probably hate the idea of not measuring. Oh, he doesn't? Ah, okay. So all I'm doing is
Don't forget, engineers like to work efficiently, mate.
True. So I'm lining up the edge of my Dacron, and at the marks, I'm just replicating those marks. But by doing these as a mirror, you'll see why this is important next. But when we add the holes for our leading edge connectors, they also need to be mirrored. So we're making two sides effectively. Okay, so the marks are on there now. So the first step we're going to do, you can disregard one of them for the minute. We're going to take our mark at 13 centimeters and we're going to make that a fold mark and fold to the inside of what will be the leading edge. So this basically strengthens up the edge of the leading edge, the tip of the leading edge, and gives us a no fray edge. And again, that'll become clear in the future of the build why we've done that. And I'm just applying tape to the area which is being folded over. And then I'm going to seal this from that crease to the inside. Remember, this is the inside of the leading edge, not the outside. Okay. And I have my folding bone. I'm just going to make sure that crease is nice, firm in there. And now you can see that we have no fray edge with a double length of 13 centimeters on the inside.
I'm sorry to everyone. Sorry to butt in, but I'm sorry to everyone listening. I'm a lot more mute than I normally am. It's because there's lots of details going on, and more than anything else, I'm sort of a little bit, just in awe of what's going on. So, yeah.
Okay, I'm just going over these marks to see if it makes it a little bit more visible for the camera. Can you guys see this now?
Absolutely, mate. That was perfect. Yeah.
Okay, great. So this is where it gets a little bit complicated. So what we need to measure, this is obviously where our lower leading edge connector is going to come out of, being close to the tip. You need to get your ruler, and you're going to put your mark at 7.5 centimeters because we need a 15 centimeter gap in the leading edge for this connector. And this is so we can assemble the leading edge. Again, this will become more sensible why in the future.
Yeah.
So it's 15 centimeters. So what we're going to do, you can make a mark at 1 and 15 if your mark is at 7.5. And then you can just cut vertically. Don't cut all the way to the edge, but you're cutting from this inside crease here, about 2 centimeters down. So you've got about 5 mil of non-cut area at both of these points. I'm not going to do that because I'm me and I don't like doing things without a little bit extra. So I've got a template here, and you guys can do this as well if you can get access to a template. This is a 15 centimeter template. with a curve in it, so I can have a nice kind of cut out leading edge, and it's just something that I have to do for my own.
Josh, before you start cutting, can we just go back to the alternative solution?
Yeah, of course. So
I understand the 7.5 either side.
let me just grab a bit of scrap and I'll show you guys a mock-up.
Yeah, that would be great. Sorry, mate, but I think that's quite a critical point, I think.
So imagine this is where our 15 centimeter mark was here. So yeah, this is just a bit of 25 mil folded in half. So say this was our 15 centimeter mark.
Yep.
We're cutting from the not quite the outside, so about 5 mil inside to the center of that seam. To the
center, yes. Okay.
And then what that'll give you is a split where your rod will appear through. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Okay. So you're just making a slit. You're not making a full cut. You're
just literally
5 mil off the edge to the center line, and that is it.
Yep. Is that
okay?
Happy with that?
I think probably along with the markings, we will probably like a diagram for the markings will probably try and illustrate that as well.
So I will also put up a paper diagram of the template I'm using right now if you guys want to have a go at it. But with paper, it will be a bit complicated, but I'm more than happy to give you guys access to this.
I mean, I think as long as like between us, we will assist people to get that right. Oh yeah, that is very tidy.
I'm a bit confused on the measurements on what you cut out there. We've got the 13, 13 centimeters in where you did the folds for the end of the leading edge. And then you have the 41.5 centimeters past that. And so we're like centering on that.
Yes, so
7.5 centimeters out on either side?
Yes.
Yeah, 7.5 either side of that. So 7.5 there, 7.5 there.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So the top again is the same process, but because there's no movement in the upper section of the leading edge, the spacing is smaller. So we're going to take our 15 like we did before, but we're going to take that down to 10 centimeters. So we're centralizing among the 5 centimeter mark, and then we're going 5 on this side and 10 on the other. Any questions there, Matt, or is that pretty self-explanatory?
That is very self-explanatory.
Nice one.
So it's a smaller for the upper spreader. Now, where could you get a handy dandy template like that, I wonder?
eBay.
Well, that's something I might even be able to knock up myself, because I do have access to a CNC, and the bed size should just about handle that.
I've got to admit, for personal preference, I used to do it the way, but I just find that so much tidier.
Yeah, it's exceptionally tidy, yeah.
And like before, so we have 2 sides to the leading edge. We're mirroring this. So the marks we made before, again, we'll make the same.
Yeah, don't make 2 identical.
So we're folding our leading edge.
So, anyone that's listening at home, if Josh has been with us for the last couple of builds, showing us exactly how to do it. Now, we do actually have a podcast with Josh. Josh was kind enough to be one of the first people that we interviewed and subsequently ended up joining the team. But if you want an insight into kite tech and the things that Josh does, then I highly recommend that you check it out. It's a very good podcast. Sorry, just a little bit of advertising for the channel there. Also, right, I do have a request. Sorry, Josh, whilst you're doing that. Now, because we're quite a new YouTube channel, there's certain things that we would like to do, but that we're unable to do because we currently don't have enough subscribers. Now, I hate to bang that drum, but I would be very grateful if all of you out there could visit the channel, the YouTube channel. We'll put a link on the Facebook page. If you could visit the YouTube channel and just subscribe, it will actually enable us to do lots of things like custom links and so on and so forth, which will ultimately end up in allowing us to provide a better service. So just the request for this week, please just hop onto YouTube and hit the subscribe button. We only need to get to 100, so that's not many of you. A lot of you have probably already subscribed. Yes, mate.
Let's give an incentive, shall we? A one-off pair of on the line socks for a random selected from a hat of those who do subscribe.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Okay. That's very generous. Yeah. Okay. So, yes. When we get to 100, we will do 100 subscriber giveaway. We will draw the subscriber at random, and yeah, you'll get a free pair of socks.
Quick question on the cutouts bit there. How far away from the edge are you cutting, and then also how wide is that area that you're cutting out?
So this is 10 centimeters. This one is.
I mean, like width, as in like girth, I guess.
Oh, here. This distance.
Yes.
I think it's 1 centimeter.
Okay, and then you're like what, a centimeter or something away from the edge of the raw fabric, the raw edge.
No, 5 millimeter.
Oh, okay, 5 millimeter from the fold.
Inside. Yeah. From the fold. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I'll ask again. Are we ready to move on?
Well, I think we are. Sorry for the segue, Josh. But yeah.
Right. So we're done with our soldering irons for the second. You will need them again in about 5 minutes. I'm going to put it in my radiator because I can. So what we're going to do now, on the edge which doesn't have your cuts in, so i.e. this edge here, we're going to run a seam of tape on the open edge, on the opposite side of where we've just been cutting, because we're going to apply these to our kites now.
This is a tip you've already told me, Josh.
What's that?
So there is another kite that I have built a few of, and the last two that I did, I had been struggling with trying to get the leading edge fixed in place with and I hadn't previously been using tape, but you actually gave me the good idea of just taping one side and holding the other side in place. And I have to say, it seems so simple, but was very, very, very effective and helped me massively. So.
Okay, so both those sides are taped now. I'm just going to clear some of this waste because I'm going to move the bench side. How are you cracking on, Chris? What stage are you up to?
I am going slow still. I am halfway through the trailing edge. I'm going around the curve again though. Coming up to the.
Oh, okay. We better not distract him. He's at the curvy bit.
Well, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do the leading edge because I have to admit I've been concentrating a bit more on this than I have watching along for something. I might stop saying for a bit and then watch you.
Right, we've already got a new subscriber. Sorry to talk over you, Chris, but stop the presses. We have a new subscriber. So
Is it you?
MCC Jar Ha Ho. I bet that's John McCracken. If I had to guess, I bet that's John McCracken. If so, John, you're a legend. Thank you very much, sir. That's very kind.
Okay, so I've just peeled away the first half of the tape. So remember, you need the open end, i.e. the cut edges of the Dacron on the front of the kite. So applying our lefts and rights, just make sure you're aware of which one is which.
So we're sticking to the back of the kite.
Back of the kite, leaving the front of the kite open.
Okay, so cutouts are going to end up on the front of the kite. So we are sticking the leading edge to the back of the kite. So if everything else, if you've orientated everything else in the right way, up to this point, you should now be sticking onto the back of the kite.
Okay, so what we're doing is we're matching this tip here, so the bottom tip, which is the trailing edge, which is in a tunnel, to this very tip, bottom tip of the leading edge. And what we're going to do, we're just going to, so you see that marries up there nicely, meet that edge, and just apply that with a bit of pressure so that once you look at the back of the kite, it's totally concealed.
Right. Okay. So it actually goes. Yes. Yeah. That's right. Okay. I can see it goes over the whole wingtip. Okay.
And what we're now doing is we're applying the cut edge of the leading edge to the crease. So we're matching that crease all the way along. Just like that. So you see it goes halfway along.
Yeah.
Into the Dacron.
Yeah.
And we're just going to do that all the way along. Do this in small sections because there is a curve here, and if you do it in small sections, the curve will naturally sort of blend into the kite.
Yeah.
See a quick close up on the tip there. How did you get the just correct straight flush up with the folded tip, or?
Absolutely flush.
Ah, okay, I see. Here's one quick little call out. I got this guy, which is kind of nice for those rounded edges.
We're gonna have a look at what he. Yes.
Oh, nice.
Circle tool from Windfire Designs. Very cool little tool if you're looking for roundy bits.
Awesome. Very awesome. Right, we want to make sure we don't miss anything. Yeah, I have to say, I mean, building quad lines, they're reasonably there's a reasonably complicated process, especially when you're talking about the leading edge. Yeah, it's a different world building dual line. When you actually start picking it apart and seeing what you actually have to do and all the tips that you give us, yeah, it's pretty crazy. So it's much appreciated.
Okay, so I'm going to give you guys one of my tips here that I know a lot of people struggle on, and something that I found so useful when I kind of discovered this. And to me, it was kind of something really obvious that I was missing. But again, it's one of those things. So you need to plug your soldering irons in back now. In back now? That's not a word.
Yeah, don't plug them into your back.
Right, so while that's heating up, what we're going to do, you can see here that effectively the tunnel is on now with excess. So when I fold that over, obviously we don't need this section, but we also need the shape of the nose so that we know where the nose goes. Yeah, I know what I mean by that. You guys know what I mean by that. We need to be able to see the shape of the nose for future relevance. So just while the soldering iron heats up, the thing we're going to do now, we're going to apply some tape to this section after we've cut. I'm just letting that heat up for a second. And we're going to do this twice. So obviously we have the other edge of the leading edge to do.
No, I don't want to jump. I don't want to jump ahead at all. but I had assumed that there was actually no Icarex sort of in the tunnel where the leading edge goes, but it looks like the sort of rod will pass sort of over the Icarex or behind it.
So normally I don't like Icarex in the tunnel itself. You're absolutely right there. But for a beginner build, I kind of ambiguity having to get that 6mm seam right, because if you get that wrong, then you're effectively imbalancing the kite, and I don't want you guys to be in a situation where it could go wrong. So I figured this would be the simplest way. But yes, you're right. Normally there would be no Icarex in that tunnel.
So you've made it substantially easier for us to build, knowing
Yes.
that for a lot of us it will be our first, because getting that precisely on the edge is pretty tricky. So no, much appreciated, Josh, because I was already having nightmares about doing that. So yeah.
Next week, unfortunately, next week I may be on my travels, so we will still have a podcast.
Live build.
Yes, we'll still have a live build, but I'll be in a different setting, and we will be doing bridles next week. I know that's stepping away from the sale. Unfortunately, I can't take my machine with me. I would love to.
But the bridle is a key point anyway. So
yes.
to jump away from everything else and focus on the bridle is really no big deal. It's something that we have to do at some point. So
exactly. But don't worry, we will still be coming to you guys with a live build session.
Very nice.
Right, so I think Ryan is hot enough now. Yes, it is. It's cutting. So that tip I was going to give you guys is we're looking specifically at this section now, at the nose, and I'm just going to line up my ruler with the edge of that and just leave them. Might take one.
Right. Okay. So, hello everybody. Right. So now we're going to have a brief interlude because Josh needs to fix his soldering iron. So in the meantime, first of all, we're going to switch to Facebook. Oh yes, by the way, John, that template that Josh has got is brilliant. It's fantastic. And I'm definitely going to make myself one soon. Also, interestingly, my colleague, Mr. Purcell, has drifted off somewhere. Oh, no, he's back. Okay. So, Chris, whilst we, for want of a better word, Phil, can we see where you're up to? You're muted. Sorry, mate. There we go.
Right, back. Yeah, really not that exciting. I am not a lot further on. I had a bit of a trouble with the trailing edge going around the curve where it started to, I wasn't getting the sail right in the corner and the material was starting to move around, such that I was getting more tape on the top than I was on the bottom. So I had to just go really slow to try and correct that. But that's
it's really, really frustrating. Again, I have built, okay, so it's not a dual line kite, but it's the construction is overall very similar, or there's similar traits, and the trailing edge is a folded piece over the edge of the kite, and holding that in place. I actually don't hold it. I use they are called Miracle clips, I believe. And yeah, they're a very handy tool. In fact, I'm sure Josh would be fully against this, but I'm going to keep talking as I go away and find some. But if you are a beginner like I am, then you could do a lot worse than getting yourself some of these, because if you need an extra pair of hands, then they are very helpful. Now, how about that? I managed to fill the time with talking whilst I got them. So if you've seen my other build videos on the channel, you will have seen me using these before. These are actually really, really handy. You got a whole tin of them from Amazon for a few quid, and they work really well. I'm not sure if they'll work so well in this instance, but they've got reasonable sized jaws. I don't know. Josh, where are we at, sir? You're muted. Okay, all right. I think we're still trying to fix it. So let's go to Watty and say, Watty,
So
do
I'm gonna
you
move a
have,
little bit here.
because I know you've done lots of building. You're not a novice like me. In terms of holding the trailing edge in place whilst you're sewing it, do you have any tips?
I think I have some clips kind of like yours. I think the little clippy guys. They're handy sometimes because like sometimes I don't want to. I try to avoid using tape, like double-sided tape, if I can help it. Sometimes.
Yeah.
So if I can kind of get away with using clips or just kind of holding it with folds or things like that, then that's kind of nice.
I think the other thing that Josh said to me was paper clips. So if you don't have these, you can actually use paper clips. And I haven't tried it, but I have seen it, and they seem to work even better than these. So yeah, just for the beginners out there, that from one beginner to the others. Yeah.
One quick clarifying question. When sticking the sail onto the leading edge, I'm shoving the Icrex all the way up into the fold, right? Not
Yes.
just on the seam.
Yes. Yeah. And I think ordinarily, like on more advanced builds, you probably wouldn't be doing that. However, Josh has done us a major favor and made it very beginner friendly. So yeah.
What a nice guy.
Yeah, he's just a really nice guy.
Well, he's about to lose his nice guy status. So I'm going to give you guys a little hint. Please do not buy soldering irons from Aldi.
Right.
I bought this last week, and I was warned against this, admittedly. So that bit has snapped in the end, dropped on my foot and my carpet. Yeah, that is shocking. Do not buy those. They're really, really bad. But apart from that, my spare one has kicked in. You guys can probably see the smoke.
Yeah, I was going to say, yes. When you say kicked in, I hope you don't mean has started setting your room on fire.
No.
Is that the residue of the previous build?
Yes. Admittedly, I should have ordered a new one, but I thought I had a new one. Anyway, back to what we were doing. So, as I was saying before it happily snapped, I'm going to leave a little cut mark on the inside of this nose, and you'll see why in a second. So just apply that there. And that's all it needs to be, is tiny, tiny cut. Oh, sorry, I've been thrown off my game by that.
That's all right. It's all right. It's okay.
So then we're just going to apply a little bit of tape at the top.
So that was we're still working on this is your tip for the nose.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Where did you put that cut exactly? It was a bit hard to see with it being so dark.
Right on the flat end of the nose. So
okay, so like following the actual nose part, not so much where it starts angling down for the other leading edge. Like right
exactly.
at that point.
The top of the nose.
I see. Okay.
And you're cutting on the back, so we're not cutting complete for this reason. So I'm going to peel this tape back, and we're going to apply that as it would be sewn. And anybody who's had an issue like seeing Dacron and trying to cut it accurately will love this tip, I'm sure. So that's applied as it would be now. I'm going to follow the shape of the uncut leading edge first. And we're going to take this excess off. So remember, we're just following the uncut leading edge. Take that excess off. And this is where this tip comes in. So now you can't see where that nose is. That flat line is effectively concealed and you can't see it. However, if we flip the kite over, you can see there's a line there of where that nose is, and all we're going to do is align with that line, take that off, and there you have, as it should be,
Nice.
perfectly your nose shape.
Nice. I like that. Something I like, and like you say, when now we know and go, well, yeah. I mean, obviously, but actually, I wouldn't have come up with that in a million years. I don't think, had I not been told. So, yeah.
And all we're going to do now is repeat that process. Oh, my toe really hurts.
Okay, so sorry, I've been snoozing and not keeping up with the Facebook comments. Alan says, look in your old kites and you will find that they are made with the fold right up to the edge of the sail. The sail fabric can be seen in the leading edge cutouts. It is so much easier to do it this way than try to sew the pocket to the edge of your sail fabric. So Alan is saying it's not necessarily even a beginner way of doing it. It's how they've been done historically, and probably it's only, you know, very boutique kites that don't have the sail fabric in the leading edge. Also, he doesn't know about miracle clips, but paper clips work. Yes, yeah, I have been told this as well. But thank you very much for that, Alan.
I want to know, does Alan still assemble sails with Pritt stick? He gave me that tip years ago and I loved it.
Say that again, Josh. So,
does Alan still assemble sails with Pritt stick?
oh, I think he does, because was he? Oh no, sorry, that was someone else that was talking about Pritt stick the other day, wasn't it, Chris? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so same as before. I'm at that point now. I'm going to make my mark in the nose. So that line is there. You can see that. Well, I'm going to tape the leading edge. Not all the way, just enough. Fold this over. Take off the excess. And you know this has gone right, and I'll show you this in a second. You guys should end up with something like this. So again, flipped over, you can see that line is there. Just take that off. Okay, you don't need your soldering irons anymore.
Forevermore?
So you know this has gone right if the cross point is directly in the center of the seam, as you can see it is there. So this point here where the two meet. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, now we just sew it. So I'm going to give you back to Matt for a minute while I rearrange.
No worries. Okay, so whilst Josh rearranges his room, Chris, did you do any more on your sail then?
Yeah, I did a little bit more. I stopped though now because it was at the point where he started doing the back on the edge.
The measuring, the critical point of measuring, yeah.
I didn't hit the measurement, so I haven't done that yet. I did manage to rescue in the end the trailing edge. I did, as I thought, go off a little bit. So you'll be disappointed, but it's not perfect.
Well, you know,
but yeah, it is definitely a bit to be a bit more careful on. Same bit always, it's if you're going from the tip to the bottom of the spine, it's the bit just after the reinforcement that I struggle with. But yeah, other than that, I think it's all right.
Cool, very cool.
I think I should wait until I do the Dacron. Just to
Yeah, to be honest, it's very hard trying to keep up with Josh. And the thing is, you're doing the bit that you're currently working on, and he goes 2 steps down, and you want to pay attention.
Yeah.
So yes, it's very off-putting.
I do little slot panel templates though. I did notice those. So I might try and make some of those or buy some if we can get them online.
Yes.
I think those would be useful. But
Yes. Well, if you have any further thoughts after the show with regard to that, do let me know.
you want me to make some?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay.
I do have one thought about the template bit. I posted on Facebook a while ago, and I think was that I had found that this website called Send Cut Send, and there's a few other options where you can like send an Illustrator file, and they'll just cut that out for you and then ship it to you. And it's relatively cheap, and good if you don't have access to that kind of machinery. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, we just have a Chris, who has access to lots and lots of toys and yeah, machines, lots of things for the
Nothing
benefit.
kite related, of course.
Yeah, no, obviously nothing kite related. So
Okay.
Set up, Josh.
I am.
Excellent.
Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to go back to our trusty triple stitch, 5mm, 15mm long. We're going to close this seam so that it's concealing anything we can see. Load it into our machine. We're sewing flush against the open edge. We're going to start with our 3 back and then 3 forward, just to lock in. 3 forward. And then we're just going to sew, we're going to close that tunnel. And again, if you struggle seeing the back of the kite, stick a light underneath and you can see through.
So we're using the same stitch that we've been using all along.
Exactly.
So anyone that hasn't started their build yet, who is keen on giving it a go, don't forget the colorizer is available if you want to see get some inspiration. I have to say my daughter has been on it for the majority of the afternoon, giving me lots of suggestions on what colors to go for. But actually, I think I might even make her own in her own ridiculous color combination, and then it's something for her to learn on, hopefully, which will be quite nice. You're muted, Josh. Oh no, there we go.
Okay, so you can see now we're at the point where we reach the top of that leading edge, and we're at the point where we need to go down this side. However, what we're going to do first is we're going to continue all the way in the straight line that we're on and come and meet this point here. So we're sewing this path here, and then we're going to reverse it back to where it is, rotate, and then we're going to do the same on the other side. So we're closing off this leading edge. And again, when we get to the nose, you guys will understand why. The problem with this is with building these kites and doing it as often as I have, you tend to think 5 steps ahead, and it's really hard to explain why you're doing something at the time because it's a very visual thing. But effectively what we're doing is we're closing that tunnel for the rods to go into the nose, so the nose has extra strength. And yeah, I'm sure you guys know what I'm getting at there. So yeah, like I said, we're following the line we're on running to the edge, reversing it, and then going the opposite way. And then we're running down this seam here. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the majority of us, although may not have built a dual line kite, will have almost certainly seen the nose of a dual line kite. So if we put it into that sort of context, we've all seen the closed off nose, I think, on the dual line kites before, so it makes sense.
Okay, and now we're at that point. We're just going to run this entire stitch down there. Is this a better angle for you guys? I don't mind this going like this.
It's good angle. I mean, it definitely shows off the pace.
Just the old iPhone camera.
I mean, that's a great view of what you're actually doing.
It's a great view of my hand. Okay, so we're at this point now. You guys can see that we're just about to come off the edge of the kite. So we're just going to lock this in. And I've told you guys how to do this, but I don't think I've ever showed you. So we're going to run to the final stitch. So I know this is the final stitch now. And then we're going to set reverse. And one more time, locked off.
Very tidy.
And if you guys give me 2 seconds. That should now give us like trailing edge and a leading edge.
It's basically a kite now.
Essentially, there's 2 more sections to the kite. We're going to put a nose on, and then we're going to put the tail reinforcement on. Then we can start putting sticks in the thing, and you've got a kite.
Fantastic, fantastic, and such a neat job. I mean, it is very impressive that you can be so neat and yeah, so precise whilst telling us what to do. So yeah, I think you're having a few connection issues or bandwidth issues, let's say, but yeah, the kite looks amazing. It really does. And yeah, if anyone's got any questions, now's the time to ask. Oh yeah, Trevor said it was a way better view. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Trevor. Wow, look at that. That's amazing. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing these fly. I think they're going to be awesome. Chris, I know you haven't done any more, so we won't check in with you. And Watty has gone oh no, he's there. He's there. Look, oh look. Okay, actually very similar. Is it similar color combination? No, just the fact that it's red and black. Is that? I mean, that's looking good, mate. Definitely looking very good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so Josh, next week, what do people need?
Bridle line.
Okay, and that is £150 Dyneema bridal line.
Yeah, and a Sharpie, a couple of Sharpies.
And a couple of Sharpies that will make a mark on the aforementioned bridle line.
Also a pair of scissors and a lighter. And yeah, we should be good to go from there, to be honest. Yeah. Well, it's not.
Now, okay, so I'm probably jumping ahead, so excuse me if I am, but when making the bridle, presumably you'll be tying it round something.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
All right. That's fine. So that's literally all we need.
Bridle line, Sharpie, and a lighter.
Okay. All right.
Next week will be quite quick for what we need to do, but I'm going to hang on afterwards for a bit. And if anybody's got any questions about anything we've done thus far, we'll try and answer them and get you guys caught up in a sense. Yeah.
Excellent. Brilliant. Okay. Well, John Ellerton, what material do you use to make templates for the cutouts?
Paper. Oh, sorry.
No.
For the cutouts I was using for the leading edge.
Yes.
Chris would be better to answer that question because I haven't got a clue.
I don't know. I mean, if you want some the same with Josh, I would imagine most metals would do. But it depends what you've got available to come out. Yes.
Probably something that doesn't melt.
Yeah. So basically anything. Now, probably the board that you use in this instance is a little bit thick to get the definition on those cutouts. Would you say, Watty? Or would it be ideal?
For the templates that I got made,
Yeah,
they were a bit thick.
yeah,
Okay. They were a bit thicker than I expected.
But also, like, I mean, I'm sure they were fine for what you were doing, but in terms of the small aperture for the template, they're probably being quite so thin. You might have difficult the thickness of the template. I don't know, but yes, any material basically that doesn't catch fire when you apply a soldering iron to it would be good, I guess. So I think that's it. There's no more questions. Josh, I'm just going to mute you because you're feeding back. Yeah, I think that's everything. So Chris, you made good progress. You did your trading edge. Watty is, I think, up to the same place as Josh. So fair play for keeping up with him. Josh, yeah, definitely. Josh, fantastic kite. It's looking good. Next week, everybody, is bridles. So bring your bridle line, £150 Dyneema bridle line, and a few Sharpies to make a mark on that line. You also need some scissors and a lighter. So unless anyone's got any other questions, I think we all know what to do. Hit that button. Yeah, Chris is already waving. Come on, Josh. Come on. There we go. Right. See you later, everybody.